We're 4 games in. 1/4 of the season is gone. And by now, you start to figure out who a team really is. The hot preseason takes? Gone. That week 1 optimism? Yeah, that's cooled off. What's left? Reality. And for the Raiders, reality is sitting at 1-3. Not the start anybody wanted. Not the start fans expected. And now, with injuries piling up and questions at quarterback, everybody's asking the same thing. What can we actually expect from this team going forward? What's up, Raiders fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. Let's start with the big one, Colton Miller. Losing him changes everything. At first, we thought it was maybe just a shoulder, then maybe just a sprained ankle. Turns out it's a high ankle sprain and a hairline fracture. He's on IR. And honestly, there's a real chance we don't see him again this year. And that stings because Miller hasn't just been solid. He's been one of the best left tackles in football this season. You lose him? That's like ripping the engine out of the car. Geno's blindside protection? Gone. The anchor for your run game? Gone. The one guy you felt you could count on up front? He's not walking back into the huddle anytime soon. So what's the plan? Pete Carroll says Stone Forsythe is first up. And listen, I get it. Next man up is the NFL way. Everybody says it. Chargers are without Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. Teams lose guys But come on, Stone Forsythe? That doesn't exactly inspire confidence, does it? Let me put it like this. Forsythe is a career backup. I've got the numbers. He's grading out in the 40s on PFF this year. That's not just below average. That's why is he even on the field? Territory. He's already allowed sacks. He's given up pressures. He's committed penalties. And most of his career snaps have been at right tackle. Only about 20% at left tackle. So now you're asking a guy who struggles on the right side to protect the blind side against the best pass rushers in the league? That's like telling somebody who barely knows how to drive a stick shift, here, take this Ferrari and jump into the Indy 500. Good luck. And here's where I have a problem with this staff. Pete Carroll talks about competition. Preaches always compete. But is this really a competition? Because Charles Grant, the rookie you drafted in the 3rd round, the guy you brought in to develop, isn't even getting a fair shot. Forsythe's just handed the job. Why? Because he's a Pete guy. That's favoritism, not competition. And listen, I know Grant is raw. He might not be ready. He might struggle. But you don't know until you try. We know what Forsythe is, a below-average backup. Why not give the rookie a chance to grow? Look back at Colton Miller in 2018. As a rookie, he gave up 16 sacks. He got beat. He got embarrassed. But you know what? He got better. By year 2, he was solid. By now, he's elite. That's how you develop guys. You throw them in, you let them take their lumps, and you see if they swim. So, yeah, I'd rather see Charles Grant out there. Because at least there's upside. At least there's a future. With Forsythe, we already know how the story ends. And without Miller, guess who this puts even more pressure on? Geno Smith. And man, we got to talk about Geno. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 4 games in. That's the stat line. That's not good enough. In fact, that's losing football. All offseason, the talk was Geno's got to push toward 30 touchdowns and keep the picks around 10. Right now, he's on pace for another 20-15 season. And you don't win in the NFL with that kind of quarterback play. The issue isn't just the numbers, it's how he's turning the ball over. He's locking on to guys. Defenses know Brock Bowers isn't 100%, so they're not afraid of getting beat deep. They're sitting on underneath routes, they're baiting him, and he's biting every single time. And here's the frustrating part. Geno's best throws, they're deep shots. He's got the arm. We saw it against Washington. But since then, it's like he's scared to pull the trigger. Everything's short, safe, predictable. And defenses are eating it up. Here's what he needs to do. Either commit to taking those underneath routes when they're open, or start taking calculated deep shots to keep defenses honest. You can't just live in the middle. You can't stare down receivers. Protect the ball. Make the throws that are there. Because here's the reality. Geno doesn't have to be elite. He doesn't have to be Mahomes or Allen or Burrow. He just can't be a liability. Give me a steady 7 out of 10 every week. Nothing flashy, but no backbreaking mistakes either. Right now, he's been a 4, then an 8, then a 3. That roller coaster doesn't work. You know what you need in the NFL? Consistency. Now let's flip to the positives, because there are positives. Ashton Jeanty. The kid has arrived. He's 8th in the league in rushing after 4 weeks. He finally broke one against the Bears, that 64-yard touchdown. And when you watch him, you see it. The balance, the toughness, the ability to make something out of nothing. He's not just hitting holes, He's creating when there isn't one, and that's exactly what this team needed. And don't sleep on Raheem Mostert either. Veteran guy came in and gave them 60-plus yards. The combo of Jeanty and Mostert gave this team balance they haven't had in a while. That's what Pete Carroll wants. That's what his teams have always been about. Run the ball, control the game, keep the quarterback in manageable situation. And for the first time this season against Chicago, we actually saw it click. Now, did the turnovers ruin it? Yeah, absolutely. You can't give the ball away 4 times and expect to win. But think about this. The Raiders ran for over 200 yards. The O-line, even banged up, gave Geno time. The defense, they held the Bears to 2 rushing yards in the first half. 2. That's insane. And even with those turnovers, the Bears only got 13 points off them. That's a defense keeping you alive when you should have been buried. And then there's Maxx Crosby. Finally, had the kind of game-changer performance we've been waiting for. The type of stuff you see from guys like TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett. Those plays where you go, yeah, that's a superstar. That's the Maxx Crosby the Raiders need every single week. And when he's paired with that defensive line stopping the run, suddenly you start to see it, the identity of this team. So let's step back. 4 games in, what do we know? We know the Raiders can run the ball. We know the defense is tough against the run, they can hold their own. We know they've got the pieces for balance. The missing piece? Consistent, complementary quarterback play. Geno doesn't need to be Superman, he just needs to not play like Jameis Winston 2.0. Now, the road ahead, it's not easy. Colts are next, and Jonathan Taylor. He's the #1 rusher in the league right now. That offensive line is nasty. Daniel Jones is playing efficient, mistake-free football. And the Colts barely punt. That's a tough matchup. Then the Titans, then the Chiefs. If the Raiders don't figure things out quick, this could snowball fast. And this is important, the season isn't over. We're only 4 games in. There's time. Teams have started 1-3 before and turned it around. The question is, do the Raiders have the right answers? Can Chip Kelly find those 3 or 4 go-to plays that always work, the way Gruden had Spider 2Y banana back in the day? Can Brennan Carroll actually develop a young offensive lineman instead of leaning on his dad's favorites? Can Pete Carroll turn that compete philosophy from a slogan into something real? Because here's the thing. This roster isn't hopeless. They've got talent. They've got a foundation. They've got guys like Jeanty and Crosby who can swing games. But you can't keep shooting yourself in the foot with turnovers. You can't keep handing jobs to guys who haven't earned them. And you can't expect fans to stay patient forever. So what can we expect from the Raiders after the first 4 games of 2025? Expect ups and downs. Expect frustration. Expect flashes of brilliance. A big Jeanty run. A Crosby sack. A defense that refuses to quit. And expect some ugly moments too. That's just where they are. But also, expect opportunity. Opportunity for Charles Grant to prove he belongs. Opportunity for Geno to steady himself and show he can still be a reliable starter. Opportunity for Ashton Jeanty to become a star. Opportunity for Pete Carroll to prove his vision can actually win in today's NFL.